guys, welcome back. I hope you had a great Easter break. I hope you did lots of fun things, relaxed, generally just had a nice time. Happy Easter. It's still Eastertide in the church, so we celebrate Easter from Easter Sunday right the way through till Pentecost, which is this year on June the 5th. So the idea in the church is that this time period we're celebrating and we're reflecting and looking forward to what is to come. And this week, rather than having one saint, we've got three saints, and they will hopefully, with their life story, inspire us a little bit for what is to come in the world. The first of those is Saint Mark. So Monday, the 25th of April, is Saint Mark's feast day. And St. Mark was one of the four gospel writers, along with Matthew, Luke, and John. Mark never met Jesus, but Mark was a follower of Paul and Peter. So he spent time with Paul, who was one of the great missionaries of the church, and he spent a lot of time with Peter. And he wrote his gospel with the assistance of Peter, the first pope. Mark's story is a really inspiring one and a really important one because he is someone who encountered Jesus through the ministry and the words of others and then devoted his life to sharing that with other people. The second saint this week is St. George. Now normally St. George's Day is the 23rd of April, but this year, because Easter happened a little bit later than normal, the period of time after Easter for 2 weeks, we don't really celebrate saints. And so St. George, because he's the patron saint of England, has his feast moved to the sort of next available date. And this year that's the 26th of April. So Monday is St. Mark, Tuesday is St. George. And St. George, well, we don't know a huge lot about him. We know he was a soldier and that he lived during the Roman times and that he was very important to the early Christian community. There is a legend that he slayed a dragon. But all of these stories about George show us someone who was incredibly brave, who was courageous, and who was proud of his faith. And the final saint this week is St. Catherine of Siena. Now, Catherine of Siena lived much later than that, and she was originally a nun who lived a very secluded life. But after receiving a vision, she devoted her life to building communities of peace and working for peace across Europe. So at the time when Catherine of Siena was alive, Europe was a very divided place, and the church itself was very divided, and there were lots of arguments about who was in charge and what the right things to do were. And Catherine of Siena devoted her life to building peace, to bringing groups of people together, and to ensuring that the world was a better place because the world was more united rather than divided. So our three saints this week, St. Mark, St. George and St. Catherine of Siena, all teach us really important lessons. St. Mark teaches us to evangelize, to go out and tell people about Jesus, to spread the good news. George teaches us to be brave. It's not always easy to go out and tell people about Jesus, but St. George tells us to be courageous and strong in our faith. And Catherine of Siena tells us to go and make the world a better place and to work for peace and community and equality and fairness across the world. And I think those three things are really important for us and really important for our communities, but really important for the world in general. That we tell people about Jesus, that we're brave and that we work for peace. So maybe this Eastertide, maybe over the next coming weeks, think about how you can do those three things. How can you spread the faith? How can you be brave? And how can you work for peace and a better world? I hope you have a great week. See you again soon. Goodbye.